think they are once we get started. Okay, so it says 50 times the sum of 45 and 52. Who remembers what we do here?
Multiply.
Well, we put boxes around our mathematical words, don't we? And then we write down the operation that goes with it. Okay, so it looks to me like I'm multiplying and adding. Do you agree?
Yes.
And then down here, look at this. Lo and behold, I see one that is multiplying and adding. So could I maybe just copy this format but put the other numbers in? Okay, so my numbers are 50 times, 50 times 45 and 52. Now notice how I wrote it kind of up above that box, in the top part of the box. That's because I've got to solve for the value of the expression, so I'm leaving room underneath to do a little bit of math. So 45 plus 52, can we add that in our head?
Yeah.
What's 5 plus 2?
7.
And what's 4 plus 5?
97.
So we've got 50 times 97, okay? Now I have a trick for multiplying this out. I can just take 97 times 5 and then put my 0 back on. So that's what I'm going to do over here. 97 times 5. Don't tell me the answer. Make everyone practice it. Okay, did you get 485?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that my answer?
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not. So what is my answer? What do I need to do? I need to put a 0 at the end because remember I took this 0 off? So I need to write it at the end. So let's take a look at the next one. This is actually kind of a trick. They put one on the test that we did in practice in class. So we can do it though. We can figure it out. We've had difference before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean? Subtract, good. And then divide means to do what? Divide. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Okay, now here's what it says, and this is where they're trying to get you. Divide the difference between 1,500 and 800 by 5. So here's the problem with this. They're wanting you to think you have to put 5 at the beginning since it says divide first. But I notice my number 5 is at the end. So I want the division part of this to be at the end. Okay? And instead of 5, can we change that to 7? Okay, let's change it to 7. It'll be more like the test if I do that. So I'm going to divide this difference by 7. Now my difference is what goes in the parentheses. So the difference between 1,500 and 800. So what's 15 minus 8?
15 minus 8 is
7. So it's 700 divided by 7. So can you do that in your head?
Yes.
What is it?
It's 100.
It's 100. Good. Now on the test, it's not going to be 700 divided by 7. It might be 300 divided by 3, or 400 divided by 4, or 800 divided by 8. But you get the idea, don't you? Okay? What should I put a box around for C? Sum. What does that tell me I'm going to do? Add. And then I don't see any more mathematical words.
No.
But I know there's something we practiced. Whenever I have a number right next to a number word, do you remember what sign goes in there?
Multiplication.
Multiplication. I almost gave you the answer. Well, I pretty much did. But we think of this as 4 copies of 15, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay? This is the hardest one. Are you watching? Okay, so that means, how many multiplication signs do I have?
2.
2. So that means I'm going to multiply twice and add once. Okay, so 4 15s and 16 15s, which we know those are multiplication problems. Now, I had some kids in block 2 go over here and they started writing 16 times 15, and they were going to do turtle head. And listen, that's what I would have done when I was a kid too. I would have multiplied this one, then multiplied this one, then added them together. That makes sense, doesn't it? But what if we add first? Now don't say anything, okay? But what am I multiplying by?
15.
In both of them. So I can just write that once. 15 times 15, I can just write it once, okay? And then I can add, what am I going to add? These aren't on here anymore. 4 and 16. What's 4 plus 16? Now, is that problem pretty easy to solve? I could do 2 times 15. What's the answer? 30. Add a 0. Very good. So these 415 and 1615s, remember, it's easier to add or subtract first. And we'll have another one like that in just a minute, okay? So let's go down to the next one. This one looks a lot like number 1. So it says 15 times the sum. This says 50 times the sum. So is it very similar? We just have different numbers that we're going to substitute in to the same format. So I've got 15 times, and what am I adding together? 13 and 7. I did forget something. This whole putting a box around it, right? So I'm going to multiply once, and I'm going to add once. Okay, now what part of this should I do first? The addition, yeah, because it's in the parentheses. So what's 13 plus 7? Oh, goodness. Didn't we just do that problem?
Yeah.
What's the answer? Very good.
Good.
Okay, am I going too fast?
No.
Okay, this one, they didn't write the words for us. It's okay. I recognize this. One multiplication sign, one addition sign. We've done one of these before. Actually, we've done 2 of them today. So multiplication, what word do I use? Times. And addition, what word do I use? Sum. Okay. Now here's I didn't plan it this way, but it's kind of cool. Do you see multiply and add right here?
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. Can we just copy these words and replace the numbers?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's going to be what number instead of 15? 10 times. So write this down. Don't copy mine. Copy from up above on your paper. 10 times the sum of, and then we don't have 13 and 7 this time. What do we have?
375 and 84.
375. Whoops. Almost wrote a plus sign. And 84. So that was kind of clever that we could just copy it down, wasn't it? Okay. So now I've got to solve this thing. What would you say to do first, boys and girls? Add. And I think I'm going to use standard algorithm because it looks like there might be some regrouping here. 7 plus 8 is regrouping. So 375 plus 84 . Okay, so 459, is that my answer?
Yes.
No.
No, you have to add.
Okay, did I multiply it times 10 yet? No. Anything times 10? Add a 0 to the end. Okay. All right. So let's figure out what we're we need, and then we'll figure out what to write.
I know.
So the plus sign means what word? And the multiplication sign means times. So it's the exact same thing we've been doing, just backwards. Okay? So instead of having times first, we've got sum first. Can we do this?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to start with the sum of. And then what two numbers are we adding together? 530 plus 470. So 530 and 470. Then I'm going to put times what? 14. Now there's got to be an easy way to do this one too. Let's add first, right? Okay. Get that up there where you can see it. Okay, don't shout it out if you figure it out. Figure out how easy it is. What'd you get when you added? What's 1,000 times 14? 14,000. Voila. That wasn't as hard as it looked, was it? Okay. Now, you are going to come up with similar answers when you add on that one, okay? But your 14 might not be the same, and these two might not be the same, okay? So let's take a look at the next one. Now, this says, compare the two expressions using greater than, less than, or equal to. For each, explain how you can determine without calculating. I'm going to cross that part off, okay? We're going to try and do that without calculating, but we might have to do some of it. And that just means to write it down on paper, okay? All right, so here's what I've got, okay? I've got 100 times 7. What's the answer to that?
700.
700. Keep that in your head, okay? What's 5 times 6?
30.
Okay, now don't shout out any answers, but if I do this problem, can I do 25 times 3?
Yeah.
3 quarters.
Oh, 75.
75.
750.
And then why'd you say 750?
Because there's
You
a
added
5.
Because you have to add a
Zero.
0 to the end.
Yeah.
So which one's larger, boys and girls?
The one on the right.
The 750, correct? Okay. So let's keep going down. Now remember, we're going to try and do this without working it out. Because I don't want to do standard algorithm, do you? No, we have to do that later on. So this is the same thing. If I took this out, right here, take that out, change this to a word, it would be 76 11s.
Oh.
Write that down. 76 11s. Okay. Now, this is 80 11s minus 5 11s. How many 11s is this?
75.
75, because 80 minus 5 is, so this would be 75 11s. Which one's larger, 76 or 75?
76.
Okay. I think it's 12s on your test tomorrow instead of 11s.
No.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
We're still geniuses.
Okay, so let's take a look at this one. I got this one's standard form. This one is unit form. So let's change this one to, you want to change this one to standard form? Okay, so 24, 26s would be 24 times 26 times, what would double be? And I think I want to do this. That's one way to think of it. Okay, so this answer doubled. I don't want to do that. Do you?
4 times 6.
No, here's what I want to do. I want to take 24 and I want to double it.
Oh, so 48.
So that would be 48 times 26. That didn't help us at all, did it? Does this help us? So
Actually,
what's the
yes.
answer?
It's equal.
48 times 26, 26 times 48. They're just backwards.
It's the same.
It's the same. So here's what I want you to do. If you got doubled with a number, double that number before you start. Okay.
Usually it'll work.
And I think so. At least in 5th grade math.
Finally, we're on the second page. Yay!
Okay, so let's take a look at this one. I've got to solve, and then I've got to use words, numbers, or pictures to explain how the answers to part A and B are related. Now, we've done problems like this before, boys and girls, where the first set of factors doesn't have a decimal, and the second set of factors does, okay? So we're going to solve this first one, and then what will we do on the second one?
Put a decimal.
Place a decimal in the answer. Do I have to change the answer?
No.
Not really. The numbers are the same. So how are you going to solve this? 35 times what?
6.
No,
Oh,
sir.
5, 6. Or 6. 6.
Isn't it easier to take that 0 off and put it back on?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so my answer to this one is what?
110,000.
2,100. Because that 0 right there that I took off, I had to put back on. Okay? All right. Or 2,100. Okay, so I'm going to take that dot off of there so it doesn't mess us up. So this one's going to be 2100.
Yep.
Correct?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
just a minute. But this is 3.5. So how many decimal place values? Okay, so I'm going to do 2100. Then I'm going to place the decimal. Then I'm going to hop it once. If you don't want to do it the hop way,
Just erase that.
or I could just place the decimal there, right? Underline. And then erase the 0 and the decimal. Okay? Another way to do it, you could rewrite, well, not there, because we got to write a sentence. You could rewrite 2,100, place your decimal, and then write the answer. Okay? Now, what did I do here?
You just erased the 0.
Not really.
Copy.
Well, I solved the first problem, right?
Yeah.
So the answers will be the same, except for the place value of the numbers, right? Is that right? Okay, so let's write that down. The answers will be the same. Except, did I spell that wrong? I wrote expect. Except for I'm going to go ahead and say decimal place value. That make more sense? And could you go ahead and write, I placed a decimal in the second answer in the tens place? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to it. I placed a decimal. You'll be able to answer this tomorrow, though. In the second answer, showing tenths. I know that's a lot of writing, but we really need to explain what we mean, don't we? And that's the only one I'm making you write on tomorrow. Okay? So once you have that written, would you put your pencil down, please? So I know you're ready to go on.
That's a good
Okay,
idea, though.
let's look at the next one. So you've got one that's a little different on yours. we're just going to do B right now because I want to save time in class to make sure we get the rest of the problems done. So everybody write, and don't get it too close because you're going to have to regroup. So write 459 times 204. I changed it from your paper. And see how I left myself room to regroup right here? Okay. This A, no problem. You're going to be fine. Okay? B, I want to talk about this one together. So if you're still drawing turtle head, that's fine. If you're not, that's fine. Okay? But 9 times 4, what is it? 36. Just work with me here. 4 times 5.
20.
Plus 3.
23.
Good. And 4 times 4.
6.
Plus 2. Okay, now this is why we're working through it together. Are you ready? I've got X's and O's, but look, that's a 0. I'm going to X it out, add another 0. Okay, that's just refreshing your memory. Now you can multiply 2 times 9. What's that? 18. 5 times 2, plus 1 more. And 4 times 2, plus 1 more. Now add it up. And write it on the line. 93,636. Okay? And you'll do the same thing on A, but not right now. Because I want to go down and talk about problem 5. Now, if you are not listening to what I say, you're going to have trouble tomorrow. If you are listening to what I say, it's going to almost not even seem like a test. Okay. So, for a field trip, the school bought 53 sandwiches for $3.75. And 47 bags of chips for $1.65 each. How much did the school spend in all? Now, there's some words on here that are going to tell us what we're doing, actually. Did you put boxes around them? Because I'm not doing this for me. Okay, so in all, what's that tell me I'm going to do? I'm going to add.
Yeah.
Remember that from the old days? Probably second grade. Each. Probably multiply because I'm buying things. Okay? If I'm dividing things into bags, then I'm probably not multiplying, am I? If it says each bag would contain, then I'm probably not multiplying. Now, when I go to the grocery store and I buy sandwiches, sub-sandwiches, probably Walmart actually, if I were going to get 53 of those in my cart, would the lady at the counter go, scan,
She just do that.
scan,
Do it like
scan. What would she, raise your hand. Jaden, what would she do?
Grab one and do it.
Grab one, scan it, and what would she write, put in her cash register?
Multiply it.
Shh.
Multiply it.
Take it times 53. And that would be easier than scanning all 53, wouldn't it? And then she could maybe count all 53. So the sandwiches are going to be $3.75 each. Go ahead and write that down, and we're going to take it times 53. Now, don't start multiplying yet. Okay, so now that I've got a problem for the sandwiches, let's talk about the chips. Is it the exact same thing? Is she going to scan each bag, or is she going to take them times 47? Okay, and how much does each bag cost? $1.65. Now, did you notice me underlining digits in decimal place value? Okay, so when you get to your answer, are you going to have to underline digits in your decimal place value? Yes. Okay. So we've got multiply, multiply. I did that. Then what do you think in all is going to have me do? Add the answers together. Add these two totals of the sandwiches and the chips. Add them together. Now here, don't get confused. Okay. When you multiply, you have to underline and count decimal place values, right? When you add, what are you going to do?
Just line the decimals.
Line up the decimals. Okay, so go ahead and write that down. Now here's what I want you to do. When you get ready, when you get this finished, I want you to check it with mine. But I don't want you to check it with mine until you're finished, okay? Prepare yourself for the test. Really try hard not to peek while I'm working on these, okay? All right, go ahead. This one is tough. So what I want to do, I'm going to read it and then we're going to write some notes at the top of our paper. Okay? I hope I'm recording. Yeah, I am. Okay. So Marcy makes hair bows to sell at the craft fair. Marcy might be a kid or it might be a grown-up. Each bow requires 1.5 yards of ribbon. Okay? That's pretty important. So each bow is 1.5 yards. Okay? At the fabric store, ribbon is sold by the foot. Of course. If Marcy wants to make 74 bows, how many feet of ribbon must she buy? Show all your work. Okay, so there are several things we need to talk about. What are you raising your hands for? Oh, you need to change yours to 1.5. I changed that. Thank you. Okay, so change yours to 1.5. Okay, because otherwise we're going to have hair bows that, would be bigger than your head. So that's why I made it a smaller number, okay? All right, so the first thing I have to do, I want to change it to feet, but I want to do that at the end. So I want to start out with yards, okay? So let's figure out, we know that each bow is 1.5 yards, right? So write each bow up here. Because I need you to remember this for later. 1.5 yards, okay? Each bow. And how many bows is she going to make? 74 bows. And you're going to need to remember that also. Okay? All right. So now, I think I want to figure out how many total yards I need and then change it to feet. What do you think? We know how to do that, don't we? Okay, so in an effort to figure out how many total yards I need, let's get ourselves a tape diagram. And actually, my question mark goes at the top because I don't know how much I need. I know how many I'm going to make. How many am I going to make? 74. Now, you're going to have to write the numbers down here. Because we need to write something in the boxes. Anybody see this on Zern yet? Yeah. Something like this? Okay, so that represents the 74 bows that Marcy's going to make. Now, how much does each bow require? 1.5 yards. So you don't have to write yards, just write 1.5. This is a pretty good visual for us, isn't it? So each tells me I'm going to do what? Multiply or divide. Is this number going to get larger? Yes. Okay. Because she's making 74 bows. So let's go ahead and let's multiply 74 times 1.5. Now, is it okay if I put the decimal number on the bottom? Yes, it is. The only thing you have to remember is, go ahead and underline your 5. That's in the tens place, okay? So multiply this out, turtle head. Don't forget X's and O's. Okay, did you get 1,110?
Yeah.
But I'm going to do what? Right. So this is how many yards I need. I mean feet. Feet, yeah. Don't say yards. That's going to be huge hair bows, isn't it? So now we're going to change yards to feet. Okay? How many feet are in a yard? 3. So double check if you can't remember tomorrow, okay? It's right there on your anchor chart. 111 yards equals blank feet. Now all we have to do is convert this. So 1 yard equals 3 feet. 111 times 3. Can anybody multiply that in their head? Probably. 333 feet. Now, here's what kids do. They do the first part of this with the tape diagram and they figure out the yards and they think that that's the answer. That is not the answer until you change your, let me see, yards to feet. There's feet. Now, how much is all this going to cost?
Oh, whole much.
It's not as much as you think. It's not even $1 a foot. If it were $1 a foot, it would be $333. But it's not. Look at the next problem. It says 10 cents per foot. Now listen. If the ribbon costs 10 cents per foot, what is the total cost of ribbon in dollars? Explain your reasoning. You don't have to do that. Okay, so dollars, help me out. Dollars and cents looks like this, doesn't it? Or we might have just one digit. We might have ones place and then hundreds. But it always shows hundreds, doesn't it? Okay, so what was the total amount of ribbon in feet?
333.
Okay, so 333 feet times, and here's the tricky part, 10 cents written as dollars and cents. So it's going to be, are you ready? $0 and 10 cents. That's how you write 10 cents. $0 and 10 cents. You would write it like this.
That's so cheap.
Okay, now, as we multiply, we might need this later to figure out our answer, so I'm going to leave it blank. As we multiply, though, we need to notice there's a decimal there. And it is a power of 10. It's 1/10. So as I multiply, can I ignore this 0? Yes. So 333, rewrite it. And if I'm taking it times 10 to the first power,
So 10.
10, but it's 10, it's 1/10. So, no, we're just going to hop it. Which way do I hop it when it's a decimal?
Left.
When it's a decimal, which way do I hop it?
Left.
Okay, so I've got $33 and how many cents? No.
30.
Okay, so let's see. Let's put $33 on this dollars and cents thing. Are you right? Is it 30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really cheap.
So she's gonna make a lot of money. What if she charges like $5 a piece for those bows?
Dang,
Yeah, okay. Now, we're not gonna get caught up on that because I wanna keep going and do the last problem, okay? But here's what I want you to remember about this one. If you will write 10 cents as $0 and 10 cents, I think you're gonna figure out your answer pretty easy. And then remember, I'm only hopping at one place value. And when I multiply times a decimal, does my answer get larger or smaller? Smaller. Very good answer. Okay, let's look at the last one. We're going to need to know that information on the top of the paper. And I can't see the top of my paper, but you can see yours. Okay? So how many bows did she make?
74.
74. Now this is the tricky part. Okay? I'm going to read this question, and then I want you to tell me the next number I'm going to need. A manufacturer is making, oh, Marcy's going to get richer. Somebody bought her bow design. So a manufacturer is making 1,000 times as many bows as Marcy to sell in stores nationwide.
Oh,
Lucky Marcy, right? Okay, it says 1,000 times as many. Write an expression using exponents to show how many yards of ribbon the manufacturer will need. Do not calculate the answer, the total. So this is what kids usually mess up on. They still are stuck on feet. So here's what I need. Go ahead and put boxes around those. That's all we need to know. How many yards did each bow call for originally? Look up if you didn't hear the question. How many yards of ribbon?
1.5.
What did you write at the top of your page? 1.5. Okay. All right, so here's what I want you to write down below. To solve this, we've got to have three things. We've got to have bows, so write bows, times yards, times 1,000. And then, see I think on your test I went ahead and made lines for you to write on. Okay? Okay, so how many bows did she originally make? That goes here. How many yards did each bow require?
1.5.
And how do I write 1,000 using exponents?
10 to the second
10
power.
to the what?
Third power.
Don't guess.
Third power.
Third power. Why do we know it's third?
Says
There's
there's
3 zeros.
There's 3 zeros. And it's 10 times 10 times 10. You're done.
That's it?
It says don't calculate the total, doesn't it?
Oh.
Okay, so why don't you go back and do A on the one we skipped, and we'll check it together. Good job today, Block 3.
Thank you.
Okay, so this one's kind of fun because we've got the same multiplication problems twice. So we're taking it times 3, and then we're taking it times 3 again. Okay, so if you want to, there's going to be a video on YouTube that you can watch tonight and just review all this information, okay? I would, if it were me, I would watch it because I would want to get 100% on my test. That was me every time. Some kids might be okay with just like an 80% or something, okay? So they don't think they need to review, but it's totally up to you. I'm just giving it to you as a choice. Okay?